We're back again. More Titan Week.
Fight that big guy on
Content. Episode 3, Season 3, Episodes 4 through 6. It's all happening right now. Are you surviving Titan Week? I know that I am, and you should get yourself a shirt like this. Get it now, put it in the mail, so when it arrives, you'll feel like you survived. And if you die, if you don't survive, then what's it matter to you anyway?
Yeah.
It's win-win.
You literally won't care that you wasted the money.
Or spend that money in addition at subscribestar.com/cantent for all our bonus episodes, including a very special Attack on Titan themed one that you'll have to go check out to believe. And also, there's something above us.
Oh no! Run for your lives! It's Titan Week!
Hey kids, want to impress your friends and induce sexual arousal in your neighbors? Content t-shirts!
Wow, I've never been more impressed in my life with anything.
Content now has official t-shirt merchandise, and you can get yourself some by clicking below the video or in the Teespring link in the description. With designs like the classic Content logo.
Or this.
I've got a shirt on too.
Or this. And right now, get yourself the I Survived Titan Week t-shirt. Unless you don't want to survive Titan Week, but hey, that's between you and Jesus. They're a great way to support the show and share your Content pride. So get out there, wear them, and get into Content. All right, here we are.
All right, well,
another batch.
We're in the thick of it now. I have to say this stretch of 3 episodes was not as exciting as the first 3.
In some ways, sure.
We've sort of gotten away from our main cast of characters a bit to focus on all the government stuff that's going on.
We're doing new shit now in a big way. Different shit.
I would say that this is a part in the story where, like, it's obvious that big things are changing, but it's kind of difficult to feel what the consequences of it are. Where, like, there's this whole big to-do made about overthrowing the government. That's where we're at.
Yep.
Let's overthrow the government. They do.
What has changed for us narratively since that has happened? Nothing.
So far. It's just... There's everything that's happening is so big and sweeping. Where at the end of the last one, we talked about how the Survey Corps had been completely arrested. This time, the military is they're being told to kill Erwin. They've got him on trial. They're like basically asking like, should we kill this guy or not? What do you think, Pixis? And he's like, well. It depends. They set up these nobles in such a way as to trick them into thinking that Titans are attacking.
Right.
So that they can reveal how they would respond to that situation.
Right.
Which is because of Erwin having proposed this idea that if Titans were to attack now, the walls would go to war without the Survey Corps. Because without anybody to defend them, they won't have enough resources. They'll start fighting each other. And because of the fact that he set them up to think that, the nobles immediately are like, yeah, don't let any refugees in. We'll just let them all die. And they're like, oh, so you'd sacrifice half humanity? We don't like that. So they overthrow them nobles.
It was all a big gambit to judge the worthiness of their governors, and they failed the test in a big, almost laughably obvious way. See, what I would have done in that situation, look, I know they had trusted people who came in and said like, oh my God, we're under attack, and they trust these people. But instead of being like, either saying the thing of like, oh, we've got to worry, let's try to save some of the people, or saying something like, okay, let's double check, let's investigate this. They take it as granted and show their hand as complete monsters. So again, very convenient that it worked out that way. But hey, for the sake of the narrative, we're just blasting through the overthrow of the government that we set up in the last 3 episodes. It took 4 episodes to overthrow the government entirely. Without one shot being fired.
I don't even think it took that many.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We get introduced to the leader of all the military, I guess, who is
We had met him briefly before.
He's a psycho torture man.
Yeah.
He really hates nobles, and he loves shoving things in their ass and making them eat their own shit.
After the plot goes down and we're tipping our hand, he shows up, this guy Zachary or whatever, and he just states clearly to our fellow commander people, now I was with you on this takedown thing. You know, they're bad. We've revoked the consent of the governed. We're staging a coup d'etat because our leaders do not have our best interest in mind. And as Thomas Jefferson wrote, that means you're not allowed to be in charge anymore some of the time. And this seems like a pretty good case. But his motivations are not at all about the rights of man under God or whatever. It's that I just fucking hate the nobles so fucking much that I'm going to, as you said, he's a sadistic, torturing madman who really loves making nobles literally eat their own shit. I mean, that upside-down contraption with a funnel in the ass. Now, I'm wondering, logistically, is he making them eat all their food through the ass to digest it that way? Do they eat normally? And he takes a hose and sticks it in the mouth, but surely if you're shitting upward, like, it's not going to go through the hose into his mouth.
I wasn't.
He does call it a work of art, though.
I wasn't 1,000% sure if the tube was going from, because it looked like there was something else in his ass already. Because the guy's like looking at himself in a reflection.
It's a funnel implying things will be forced into this man's ass, for sure. So that's an inward take valve. No doubt.
I'm wondering if the thing he put in his mouth might have been connected to his dick, possibly. Maybe he was making him piss in his own mouth.
Possibly. I mean, theyese are the details you come to Attack on Titan for.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fascinating. Just, like, there was no need to include this as this guy's character at all. But now that we're getting into more torture stuff in general, I guess we've reached the logical extreme. Or at least, like, the most creative extreme. He's a scientist, he's an artiste of torture, as he says. But in any case, we're also just, oh, you know what? There was a thing we forgot to mention in our last batch of episodes, which is highly relevant going forward as we delve into royal bloodline stuff. And that is that we forgot to mention Erwin's dad, the little backstory we learned about him, you know, episode 3 or whatever it was, where Erwin's dad was one of these, like, heroes, like Armin's parents who were building a hot air balloon to explore beyond the walls, killed by the military police. I think they imply, whatever, a couple other people were killed by the military police, and one of them was also Erwin's dad, who was a teacher, who tried to keep his questioning of the royal dictates, like, to himself, because he's like, this shit doesn't make sense, but if I tell anyone, they'll kill me and my whole family, so I guess I'll keep it on the down low. And when Erwin, being the smart, logical boy that he is, that fedora-tipping atheist, starts asking questions, his dad pulls him aside and says, now, son, I'm going to tell you this in confidence. He doesn't specifically say, don't tell anyone about what I'm about to tell you, which, in retrospect, was a very large oversight.
Yeah.
You don't trust, like, a 10-year-old's political judgment.
No.
And as a result of Erwin telling tales to all his friends, the dad gets murdered just because his son was, you know, asking about the truth of the world. He has vanished. He's turned up accidented. He's turned up Epsteined, you know, in a wacky situation. And so this is why Erwin, we now understand why he's so dedicated to exploring beyond the walls, pursuing truth, helping humanity. He's got a little bit of that tragic backstory going on. Just enough to motivate him and for me to be like, feels like a fully fleshed out character now. I get why you're like this.
Well, we didn't need the dad to theorize that that memory altering is a thing, because we were just told that in I think episode 6. That
We're blasting through these plot setup, answer, plot setup, answer. It's coming almost a little too fast right now.
It is a little bit weird sometimes where it feels like there was nothing in between asking this question and answering this question. It's just kind of like, we found out memory altering might be a thing. Hey, guess what it is?
It's implied. This could have been one of the main mysteries of the entire story, and it kind of is. Yeah. No one inside the walls, as Erwin's dad had said, like, it's so weird that only 100 years ago, a relatively recent period of time, only 100 years ago, these walls were built and we've lived inside, like 107 years, whatever it is. It's weird that there's, like, no, like, oral history. You know, we know that the government burns books and stuff, but there's not even stories about what's outside, and 100 years is like 3 generations. So the only way this could make sense is if somebody fucked with what people actually remember, and the theory is that the people in charge did it somehow, which is revealed in these episodes to be literally true. The kings
Here's
have
some
this
theories.
power.
1, this is all a simulation that's happening in Germany in normal, everyday, modern times. Other theory, because everybody's memories, like, at this point, we know for a fact everyone's memories have been altered in this setting.
At least 100 years ago, that
So
happened.
they said that Titans, I think, have the ability to do this, to just alter everyone's memories.
At the royal family I mean, we don't know anything for sure right now, but we know that the royal family has memory control powers for sure.
And we also know that there are people who are resistant to it based on their bloodlines.
By the way, I love when Zachary is torturing one of the nobles, who's clearly one of these royal E kind of people. He's like, I have the blood of nobles in me. You have the blood of slaves. You'll never be anything. Inserts anal feed tube into mouth. So that's his answer to that.
Great shit.
Great shit. Indeed.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Oh, right. Memory manipulation and world-changing events.
Of course. How could I forget?
How could I for shit in my own mouth?
Yeah, so, I mean, at this point, it's really hard to try to, like, predict what's going to happen in this show because anything could be true. Everyone's memories have been fucked with. Any kind of reveal could be coming. Kind of knew this was true ever since the start because when Eren got drugged, it's like he had, like, an amnesia.
Yeah.
We now know what actually happened there because apparently being touched by Historia unlocks his memories.
Because they're royal blood, they got memory powers. This makes some sense.
They just like, how do memory powers is very vague.
It's very vague, but there is a connection. Every memory loss we've seen so far, I've been saying myself, like, here's some hacky, convenient amnesia plot writing. It's very convenient Eren doesn't remember, like, how he got Titan powers. We saw that his dad gave them to him or something in a flashback, gave him this key. What does it all mean? We still don't know. And I would argue, even as we go into these details, it's still fairly convenient, the specific things he forgot, because by the time he forgets, there's no agent acting upon him to make him forget because he has seen to that due to things that we're about to explain. So let's talk about it. So Eren wakes up in this like underground
the ice
capital.
Cave from Ocarina of Time.
The ice cave from Ocarina of Time. There it is. Look at him. He's all chained up, having a great time. And the king just begins to explain everything with him and Historia there. That this whole eating Titan thing, we're just explained exactly what the deal is. The royal family has Titan powers, but Grisha, Eren's dad, knew about them. His motivations are still unknown, so we still don't know what he knew or what his deal was. He broke into the royal family's secret lair here while they were doing some spooky shit, and he just killed all of them. And he devoured the eldest daughter. What was her fucking name? Frida, who Historia knew, and is Historia's half-sister or something. And by doing that, he obtained royal Titan superpowers, it seems.
Yes.
He looks like the Beast Titan, but he's not the Beast Titan.
We know already that in order for an abnormal to gain its sentience, it has to, like, eat another abnormal. So it seems like if you just keep eating abnormals, you keep gaining their powers, I guess. That's my theory is that Eren's dad eating because they said that this one was like the most badass Titan. She had
specifically
the best
her
Titan.
as like the royal leader. The scream that Eren uses seems to be her
unmistakably
power.
her Titan looks like his Titan.
It sure does.
So,
it sure does.
Eren's dad ate her. He ate his dad. It turns out. Wow, wasn't Marco he ate?
Was
at
this
least at this point? But somebody must have eaten Marco to gain their Titan powers.
Your theory about Marco, I don't know why you cling to it so much.
Something's going to happen with that guy. He's relevant somehow.
I agree. He is going to be relevant somehow, probably. I think might not be as important as all the built-up that you said. But so this motherfucker. Oh, here here's another image for everyone. Yeah, here we go. Here's where things get sad, and I get also sad. So we're just now, so by being touched by royal people powers, Eren remembers that very conveniently forgotten thing of when he was given Titan powers by his dad via injection or whatever. He turns into a Titan and eats his dad, who we know had eaten the royal lady, so he had the superpowers. Eren ate his dad, also got those superpowers, because that's how it works. What I'm wondering is if Grisha, his dad Grisha, like allowed Eren to eat him on purpose?
Almost surely.
He must have, because he could have gone Titan and fought back if he wanted to. It must have been for a purpose. I wonder what that, like, surely
Just
he
to
could
make
do
Eren
it.
the ultimate Titan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the goal. I mean, we still don't know, like, what Grisha was doing. Obviously, he, like, opposes the royal family or wanted this, like, Titan control power, also memory control. I don't know if Eren has memory control powers, too. So, like, we're just, all these fucking powers are being explained to us.
There's a lot of weird magic in this show.
Yeah, and speaking of weird magic, there's kind of a parallel bloodline that we discuss more of in this section is the Ackermann bloodline, who we learn. So Kenny is Kenny Ackermann, so he's an Ackermann too. Levi Ackermann, Mikasa Ackermann, they're all Ackermanns. Turns out that Mikasa her dad was an Ackermann, her mom is an Oriental and is not, like, apparently that was also an important bloodline, but not because of Ackermann things. Okay, whatever. Kenny is Levi's uncle, because his sister was like a prostitute and had a son, and that's Levi, and that's why Kenny raised him, at least for a little bit. Okay, makes sense. And the Ackermanns are like the old protectors of the king.
Yeah.
And it's made clear that their powers are like a literal superpower.
They're the Inca from Zelda.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're talking about, hey, did you have like an awakening one day? Man, remember when Mikasa, you know, when she awakened her powers, when she did the knife grab and crushed it and like stabbed that dude in the heart instantly? See, this is, you know, way back in season 1 when we saw her flashback to her and Eren killing those guys.
I guess I just didn't interpret that as unlocking powers.
See, looking back on it now, I get it. I get what that seems to imply. I liked that scene, though, because it was the crazy idea of a little girl suddenly going so sicko mode that she crushes a fucking knife handle and stabs a guy perfectly. Like, I liked that idea just being Mikasa being a badass. Not even because she was, like, Asian or whatever it was, just because she had that in her.
It's not because they're Asian. Turns out being
because they're
Japanese
German.
doesn't give you
It's the master
superpowers.
race, I guess.
It's just the Ackermann name.
So, I mean, with this reveal, I find that a little deflated. I like that a little bit less in retrospect, that it was a super special magic power all along. Okay, but past that, it's fine. It's a special bloodline with superpowers that defends the bloodline, and now Kenny is the main man defending the king as our boys are right outside the fucking door because they put together the pieces where this is.
Storm the gates!
And they're about to storm the fucking gates. And that's pretty much where we leave things. And I guess Eren is standing there right now, about to be devoured by someone, the king, Historia. I don't know exactly what the implications.
There's also a subplot about the two people who were after the Survey Corps, shaggy-haired girl who was Annie's roommate.
Fucking Bowl Cut and the Fluffster. Yeah, my two
Yeah.
favorite characters, or Marlowe and Hitch, if you please.
So their whole thing was like,
We knew them a little bit from the military police, and they were all right.
they like are gonna help, I think.
You know, it was funny. You know, that was like one of the first things that happened, actually. So they get ambushed as they're searching for the Survey Corps guys or whatever, and you know, they get captured because our guys are way OP and all that, and they test them. Jean gives them a little emotional test of like, I'm gonna murder both of you because we can't let you know. And the guy Marlowe, Bullcut, who we already know was a solid dude, who thinks that the military police is corrupt and he hates that shit. He joined because he wanted to serve the king and make a difference and make the world a better place. He's like, okay, no, you guys have made a good case. By kidnapping me and beating me up, you've really convinced me that you're in the right morally. So I want to join your team and like help you in whatever you're trying to do. The thing is,
Cool, more Titan food.
he agrees to do this. Hitch doesn't show any real signs of like being convinced, and we've seen that she's not like a great person previously, so there seem to be opening a real vulnerability for themselves by letting Hitch like in on the team. It's like they're treating them like one character, but these are two different characters. I expect betrayal, except they already literally won the coup. It happened so fast, there was no chance for Hitch to betray anybody.
I'm like,
Jeez.
what even were, like, that whole subplot hasn't amounted to anything yet, right? Like, it was pretty much just him talking to them that time, putting them to that little test, and that was it.
I think it was so those two could kind of like join the main cast, is kind of what I'm thinking.
Has anything Jean has done ever like mattered at all?
I don't think it has. I get strategically pretending to be Eren has been useful a few times for purposes. So Jean has some utility as a character. Not a lot. I feel bad for Jean. With Connie and Sasha, they're kind of side characters who you don't expect bigger things from, and they do their jokes. They never feel like they're underperforming for their character. But with Jean, there's been all this like, he's a leader, man. This guy's gonna go the distance. But he's been treated like a joke character in almost every situation. So
And even this
where are
is,
we
like,
going with that?
Not much better than that, where it's
No,
like...
no. He fucks up and drops the knife when he's like interrogating those guys.
I wasn't sure if that... I thought that might be on purpose.
It could have been, looking back on it now.
Well, because he's like,
jeez.
he makes out like he's gonna kill them, and like, I don't know if the misdirect was meant to be that like because last time Jean didn't pull the trigger that they want you to think, oh, this
He's
time
gonna
he
kill
is.
someone now, yeah.
But I
yeah.
definitely didn't think that. Like I was like,
Also-
oh, he's like doing a thing.
How about Jean's amazing gambit of when the other has got a knife, he puts a something up under his head and says, "That's a gun. I'm gonna shoot you right now unless you do what I tell you." And then when we like pull back and it's revealed the facade, it was a stick all along. You know, he could have done that with a real gun, like, and his partner could see that it was a stick because she was not right there. I mean, that was just a little silly. Where are we going with Jean? What's the point of any of this?
It just seemed like we were trying to get these two new characters into the plot for whatever reason. They have to be here.
I mean,
so.
you know, Hitch was kind of a semi-major character in Annie's little OVA. So, you know, that guy Marlowe has been alluded to. I feel like we're building that these two are going to be like reformers inside the military police. That will be their role, people we kind of know and trust a little bit. Because the whole point of this insurrection was that it was supposed to be done bloodlessly. And I was saying, like, this is literally the most convenient bloodless overthrow of a government in history. I cannot believe how fast it happened. And furthermore, I was saying this as we were watching, the king, or rather the fake king that had been installed by the nobles, the whole conceit of that character is bizarre now that we've pulled it back. This king, he's doing the Dracula, sitting there leaning like a king, not moving. I don't think this motherfucker had one frame of rather two frames. He had one frame of animation, the still shot, and he's literally like sleeping with his eyes open.
Yeah.
We were wondering if he's even a living human being because he did not do anything. And I get the point is that he had no agency, the nobles were puppeting him. But I mean, when the new guys storm into the building and say, "We're overthrowing the government," not one frame of reaction animation. He just sits there.
Well, because the noble comes over and kicks the chair and says, "Wake up" at the end of it. So he's like, oh.
Maybe in the manga this was played like a little clearer. If this was actually a joke that this old man character, whatever, had developed the ability to sleep with his eyes open and like that's what they were going for, that's funny. That was not clearly communicated in the anime.
I just thought the fact that he had to be woken up suggested that he had in fact been asleep.
Okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I kind of like that. Looking back on it now, it would be a reason why he never reacted to anything at any time. Okay, so whatever. Maybe I'm the fool on this one.
Yeah, this dispatch 3 was like we said, consequential narratively, but hard to know in what way.
Mm-hmm.
Where like I'm just thinking about how like in the first couple episodes we had this very clear sense of like here's the structure of this place. Titans break in, everybody moves to inner wall, and then we kind of see like where the king hangs out, who are the different strata of police and guards and all these different shit. But like at some point it has started to get very confusing to me, like who does what and where, because again things keep changing. So it's like, okay, Survey Corps is locked up, so I guess nobody's out fighting Titans right now. There's the military police, and then there's also like
the garrison, led by Pixis.
There's like, there's more divisions than I know.
I
know there are more divisions than I know.
There's the military police, and then there's like the capital internal circle that is distinct from like the larger military police.
Like internal police.
That works for like the king directly, it seems, or the corrupt,
it's just,
nobles.
it can be a little bit hard sometimes when people are talking about like, oh, this guy made this group do this, and now these guys are doing this. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know who answered to who in this situation, or again, like when I asked before, like, are Erwin and Levi still on the same team? Because at some point I wasn't sure. Like, I mean, at this point, the military and Levi are at the same team, right? Like, is the military on the same team with our guys now?
Now that they've overthrown the government and are in charge, it seems so. But I was saying, do we really, the guy who's in charge is the commander-in-chief of like the military, this guy Zachary, who the only thing we know about him is that he self-admittedly doesn't care about the benefit of humanity. He just wants to torture people he hates. is this really the person we should like? I'm very suspicious of this man, and I'm worried that he's not going to be trustworthy going forward. We just made him dictator of the world, and he doesn't seem to have everything screwed on tight. So I just don't know what the consequences of that'll be. Could the show dive into the deep complexity of sometimes it's bad to just put a new dictator in place of an old dictator without like vetting the person? I mean, I'd sure like to see some stuff with that. That could be consequences.
I guess it's just like this is kind of an interesting line is when Erwin's kicking them out, or no, actually it's Pixis who's telling them, you guys know more about Titans than we do. You obviously have a bunch of secrets, you know a bunch of shit we don't know, but because you would be willing to sacrifice half of us, even knowing that you have like better information doesn't mean that you will make better decisions for humanity. Because,
right.
you know, so like ultimately, even if we lost all that information by killing you or turning against you, it would still be worth it because of the fact that, you know, we believe in ourselves more, essentially. I thought that was an interesting line of logic to like explore this idea that we've been building this conspiracy all this time that these nobles know all this shit and are going to do something, and now whatever they were going to do has kind of been potentially neutralized. Like, whatever they had set up for probably will still have consequences, and you know the dominoes are still going to keep falling, but the guys who knocked over the dominoes are now, you know, with tube in their ass. So.
And very, I mean, again, conveniently, but it makes sense. They explain this. Like, the nobles are just gushing about the secrets of, oh, by the way, yeah, the royal family has memory control powers. We're just telling you this is what it's... But they say they're spilling their guts because... I mean, if you think about the consequences of mind control powers, if you can wipe somebody's mind, it doesn't matter what you tell them. By the way, I love the little bit that Zachary's like, okay, even if they wipe my memory, their memories can't be remembered. They can't wipe that. So I'm going to make sure they remember how much I torture them and how much of their own shit I make them eat, which was a funny little way to handle that. It's actually a benefit sometimes to be able to wipe your own memory that they don't have access to. So, like, if our heroes lose and the nobles take back charge, presumably they'll just wipe everybody's memory and start over again, and our little like insurrection would be wiped away and it wouldn't have mattered in the end. So will it stick? I guess we'll have to find out.
We'll find out tomorrow on the next episode of Titan Week.
KHANTEHNT Titan Week.
KHANTEHNT.
Yeah, that's it, folks. So stick around. We'll see you tomorrow. Give us money on subscribestar.com/KHANTEHNT. Titan Week episode, plus all the old bonus episodes. They're all well worth your time. Go get yourself a Titan Week shirt.
We're covering the Titan Junior High special for this month's bonus episode.
That's the one. And also send us fucking content clips and go to Twitter and the Discord and join Talking with All the Gang down below. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. KHANTEHNT!